Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Do you ever feel overwhelmed and you wonder, where do I put all my prepping gear? Or where is that thing that I bought that I needed? I was sure that I bought this item and now I don't know where it is. I have so many things, it's hard to figure out where to put them away. Well, if you've been prepping for a long time, or even if you're just starting, you need to figure out a way to organize your prepping supplies. One of the strategies that I've finally come to the conclusion is I need to ask myself when I bring something new home, where would I look for this item? And then I think about where is the likeliest place that it should be, and that's where I try to store it. There are some items in our household that we just want all the time. For example, I like to have readers. I buy them at the Dollar Tree. I buy them by the dozen, and then I just scatter them around all over the house, so whenever I need to pick up a pair of glasses and see what some little thing says, I have them on hand. I also have a big stash of them, and then I even took some that were the highest strength and stored them with my first aid supplies so that I have strong ones to make sure I can read the tiniest print on medicines and emergency gear to make sure that I am doing it correctly and administering medicines correctly. So that's what I would consider the critical mass. I finally have enough that they're everywhere. I can pretty much reach out and have them wherever I need them. Scissors are another item that I like to have scattered throughout my home because I'm always using scissors to cut things open. Scissors are something I don't ever want to be without, so I like to pick up a few extra pairs of the big white kitchen scissors in the Dollar Tree. They're only $1 and they're very sturdy scissors. They have a metal gripper here that you can use to open little jars and things. While I have scissors scattered around throughout my home, if I ever need another pair, I know that I have a stockpile in my emergency gear. So one of the things you can do when you're organizing extra emergency supplies is to put them in boxes or bins. You can buy the little shoe boxes at even the Dollar Tree or Walmart. I have lots of these. I buy them as I need them. So they aren't all the same, but it doesn't matter. They're about the same size, and you can stash them away. You can use them for medicines, and you can use them for children's medicine and another one for adult medicine, so in an emergency you don't mix them up. Recently I was trying to decide where was my ball of string. I couldn't find string anywhere, and I knew that I had purchased them. And you don't want to start raiding your bug out bag or your get home bag. You don't want to raid things out of your emergency gear. That's why it's nice to have a box of extras so you have some go-to. So on just a daily basis, if you want to use some of your supplies, you can go and find them. And that's where I found I had string, but I had put it in with the cordage or the rope, which that was okay, but it didn't make sense in my mind that that's where I should look for it, and so I couldn't find it. So now I have a box of string, but I'm storing the box of string with the box of cordage, which is rope, because then they're like categories. They didn't all fit in one, but they can be together with my prepping supplies so that I can find whether I want little string or big rope. I can find those in these containers. I also have purchased these containers from the Dollar Tree. They're collapsible, they're soft-sided, and they can fit on the bookshelf. And I use these to store and organize things like hooks, fasteners, clothespins, all the different kinds of connectors and different kinds of hooks, command hooks, clothespins, stick-on hooks. Even I have some bungee cords because they're hooks. So I have figured out a way to organize these things together so that I can think, where would I find a bungee cord? Where would I find a hook? Where are some of those items? And I have them stored together in an easy to access bin. I can reach in, dig around, see what it is, and put it back on the shelf. So find containers that fit the shelves that you want. You can even go somewhere like the Dollar Tree and look around at the different containers and think about what you're storing before you just say, oh, those are interesting bins. Figure out what are the items that you want to put together and find a container that fits those needs. For example, when my son's house burned down and he didn't have anything, I went to the Dollar Tree and I made a selection of 3 different categories of supplies that he would need. I got him some emergency toiletries. I got him some first aid supplies. I got him some housewares. I found a size of bin that would fit on his shelf, and then I could put those supplies away and store them in the new place where he's living. I also was able to pick up some food to get him started again, and that could go directly into the pantry. So don't just buy bins because they might look cute on your shelf. They may not fit what you want to organize. So gather up the things that you have and figure out what bin fits that space and fits the supplies that I have. So measure the shelf or the area where you want to put your bins to make sure that you choose bins that are the correct size, but then also take into account what items are going into them so that the items fit efficiently, and then the things can be on your shelf efficiently as well. And if you're not sure what you want, just start with a cardboard box. Put your things in, organize them in a pile in a Ziploc bag. Get your stuff organized and then look it over and say, how can I categorize this? How do I want to arrange these things? And then you can organize your bins from there. You might even just start with one big bin and put in all of your emergency supplies, and as you gather more, you can fine-tune that and put your things into categories and sort them out the way that you want them. You want to make sure that you're keeping your supplies up to date, so once or twice a year, get out your bug-out bag, lay everything out, and see if everything is in good repair. Do the clothes still fit? Do you have adequate first aid supplies? Replace things like food and battery, include some fresh water. If you see an item you think is just too heavy, too bulky, really isn't that necessary, you can take it out, because part of fine-tuning your bug-out gear is making it so it's actually useful and it's not so heavy and cumbersome that you can't carry it if you needed to. You want to just have the basics. It's just like when you pack your suitcase to go on vacation, and the bigger your suitcase, the more you put in, and pretty soon you have so much stuff, it's so heavy and you can't even drag it around. So one strategy I do when I go on vacation is try to remember to take out half of your clothes and put in twice as much money, and that can make your trip go a lot more smoothly. So your bug-out bag is the same way. You want it to be a manageable size with things that you actually really need, and don't get bogged down with so many what ifs. There's so many things that you wouldn't need if you had to leave your home in an emergency. So just think about the things that you actually really would use. And those are the things that deserve a spot in your bug-out bag. Vinegar is another item that I like to use in the kitchen. I like to use it for cleaning. I like to have it in the laundry room. And so I like to buy various containers. And when I've been to the store the last few times, they either didn't have any vinegar or it was extremely expensive. My son even called me recently and he was showing me the bottle of vinegar that he just bought, that it's some fancy organic and it was so expensive. And he said, when you're here visiting me, Mom, do not use this vinegar for cleaning anything. This is for fancy cooking. So when this vinegar got way down and I couldn't find any in the store, I started to panic. And then I thought, don't panic. I have several bottles of vinegar that I bought quite a while ago that are with my deep, long-term food storage, that are put away, out of the way. I don't see those items every day because I don't need to. They're for the longest term storage for real emergencies. And so you then also have to remember, what did you put in that area as well, so that if you do need some of those items, that you remember that you have those supplies and where you can go and get them. That's how you rotate your supplies. You use the things and then you replace them. You get one from your stockpile and then you get a fresh one to put into the storage. Buying in advance always makes sense. There's inflation. It's harder to get things, especially these days. Things are going up dramatically in price, and some items are hard to find. They become more rare. It's harder to find all the things that we need. That's why prepping is important. You'll have the things you need when you want them because they'll be organized in your stockpile, and you'll say, where is that extra item that I needed? And you can remember in your mind, it's in this spot where I placed it to organize it for my prepping gear. Everybody's home is different, so there's not a one-size-fits-all answer. Fill your pantry the best you can. Put some extra food under your bed, organize a spot in your laundry room where you can store some of your extra supplies. Maybe you have a garage and you can put some things in there. Everybody has challenges of where to put those things. I know I don't have one of those gigantic prepper pantry basements, which would be really nice. Most of us don't have that type of space in our home. You might have an end table that has cabinet doors. You can add things in there. Maybe there's a little spot behind a bookshelf and you can slide something in there. Look around your house and be creative. That's what I do. And that's how come sometimes I forget where things are, because I don't have just the great big prepper warehouse to walk into and go up and down the aisle. I have to look in the nooks and crannies of where I stored things. I even organize part of my pantry into meals. Where can I get a meal? What can I have for dinner? If you're just looking at all the assorted foods in your pantry, that might not spark any imagination. So I like to put things together into shelf meals. Maybe you've seen a video where I take all of the canned foods that go together to make one meal, I put it in a Ziploc bag, and I set it in the pantry. Then when I want to make a meal, I can grab one of those bags, everything is together, and I can quickly make a meal. Let me show you how it works. Here's a bag for pozole. For pozole, I have a can of pulled pork, a can of pinto beans, a can of hominy, a can of fire roasted tomatoes, and then I'm just going to season it to taste with chili powder, onion powder, and garlic powder. It's already in the bag. You just combine all, heat it through, and you're ready to have dinner. So don't feel overwhelmed with your supplies. Take a few minutes every day to organize them a little bit better so that you'll have the things you need no matter what the future brings. If there's tips and tricks you have to share with us on how to organize prepping supplies, please add it to the comments below so we can all learn from each other. If you enjoyed my video, I hope you'll share it with someone else you think might like it. Please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.